So welcome to the second episode of the Suffolk Scoutcast. We're very excited to have Alyssa and John McMorris with us today as our guests. They are the founders of the Andrew McMorris Foundation, which came into fruition a couple of years ago. We're going to learn more about that right now. So John and Alyssa, thank you guys so much for having for coming. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having
us. There we
go.
Thank you. Yes, sadly, it came out of something tragic. So Andrew was on a Boy Scout hike, and him and his troop were struck by a drunk driver. And from that moment on, it became John and my mission to parent Andrew's legacy. So we weren't done parenting him. He wasn't done. His scouting journey hadn't ended. So we actually sat down with our lawyers when we were working on estate planning, and they said, what would you like to set up a foundation in his name? And at that moment we were like, absolutely, let's do that. We want to further those things that Andrew loved most, and that included scouting along with many of his other talents, which included arts and music and theater and just being a community service volunteer. So the Andrew McMorris Foundation was birthed out of that, and actually it was a bunch of family members sitting around the kitchen table and some scouting friends, and we sat down and we came up, it's simple, Andrew McMorris Foundation, and we drew logos down, and we came up with missions and ideas about what we wanted to do and how we wanted to share that legacy, and we came up with 3 prongs: advocacy, legislative work, so that this doesn't happen to anyone else. That education piece is crucial. We call it the Andrew Project, the Andrew McMorris Project, to encourage that if you drink, don't drive. We have our scholarships and grants, so we can impart some beautiful things about Andrew's life to other people, so they have that opportunity. And youth leadership, which is the core of him as a scouter, and allowing other students to join us and join that so that they can further the mission.
That's excellent.
Thank you. The story it's known, I think, in Long Island, tragically, right, with the loss of Andrew. And I think what is really important for me is really understanding how you and your family and Andrew got into scouting in the first place. Could you give us some stories of how you started in scouting and what made you want to have your children in that scouting atmosphere, especially with Suffolk County?
Well, I was originally a Cub Scout, and I got to be a Boy Scout. Unfortunately, I never made it through Boy Scouts, but it was something I wanted my son to be a part of, because it's such a great experience, scouting, because you learn stuff in scouting. You have the experiences that you have nowhere else. Being able to learn how to make a campfire, you don't learn that in school.
Right.
The knots and all that, the camping and the hiking and all the outdoor adventures that the boys have. I wanted my son to experience that, because it not only it's a good experience and fun for him, but also teaches him a lot of values. It teaches him leadership skills. And again, those are things you can't learn anywhere else. So I really wanted Andrew to have a part of that, because I had a good taste of that growing up. And my mom was also a den leader, so I wanted to be able to give back to my son and to other scouts as well.
And oftentimes, I think that what happens is that you take from your own experiences. So I was a Girl Scout in my younger years, and my mom was a leader. So I invited my daughter into that because it's what I knew. And when Andrew would come along with me to the meetings, and one day we were leaving our meeting at our local library for my daughter. She was in Daisies at that point. That's the first level. And we were driving to King Cullen to pick up something for dinner, and we were driving past Schiff Reservation, and we saw scouts hiking towards Schiff. And Andrew looked out the window and goes, "Oh, I want to do that." And I said, "Well, that's great. You can talk to Daddy about that."
Exactly.
And that's basically, this kind of grew from that. And then what we wanted to impart, that if some of his friends didn't have parents that were in scouting, and we wanted to expand that. So we expanded it in our friend group and allowed that to be something that could be honored amongst their friends, so that we can join in and John joined into getting the leadership. At one point he's like, well, I don't know if I'm ready to do this. I don't know. And I'm like, well, honey. And and the next day he filled out an application.
And that's like very common, right? Because it's all, I mean, scouting is a very family-oriented program. And I mean, you know, as someone, I'm an Eagle Scout myself, and both my parents were den leaders and den mothers, and my father was in Boy Scouts at the time. So, you know, passing that on to the next generation is just, I think that's a big part of growing your family together. And, you know, and you talk about friendships. I mean, a lot of my parents' friends are friends today because they were their kids were in scouting with me.
Sure.
So it's, you know, it's kind of, it doesn't always just help the kids growing up in scouting, but the adults actually grow at the same time. So it's just a great program for us.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, I appreciate that point. You know, as a single mom, my son's in Boy Scouting, and he really enjoys going, and you can see a shift in his behavior after a meeting. And the things that he's learned. And to your point, just learning how to tie different kinds of knots in different situations.
Where do you learn that?
Is something that you
Yeah.
don't learn in
Right.
school, right?
Exactly.
So scouting really does provide that opportunity for the children and parents alike to come together and form a community of service, and have that support group together to, you know, honor and provide that experience that most children and most adults don't really have that opportunity. So I appreciate you sharing that, you know, as a parent, how you were involved and how your, you know, parents are involved, and, you know, me as a new parent becoming more involved, showcasing how we can all come together to support our community in a different kind of way, which is great. So I know there's a lot of events that you are doing within your organization for your foundation. Can you tell us a couple of the ones that are coming up, and what's, how do we get more involved, and is it just for scouts? Is it open to the public? Give us a little bit more details about some of the events that are coming up.
Well, the big event coming up is Andrew's Top Gun Run. And it's called Andrew's Top Gun Run for various different reasons. Andrew had a passion for aviation. He wanted to be a pilot. Top Gun was one of his favorite movies. And he loved jet fighters, and he loved going to the Jones Beach Air Show. And so it ties into a lot of things that he was passionate about, but also ties into Scouts too. Andrew actually also got his aviation merit badge, which he was very, very proud of. He was very excited about that.
Not many people do.
Yeah, right.
It's a rare one.
So he was very, very happy about getting that. So we wanted to honor Andrew's memory and his passions and his scouting spirit most of all through doing something that kind of brings people together, because Andrew was a kind of a kid who liked bringing people together. He liked having parties and get-togethers. He liked bringing people together for a mission and, a same purpose. And kind of honor Andrew and his life and his scouting spirit, as well as the Scouts themselves. I think this is a great event to bring people together and under something positive. We're turning our grief into action and our pain into purpose by doing things like this, to honor his memory, to honor Scouts, and to raise money for scholarships and grants and scoutships.
And when is the run?
It's Saturday, March 25th. It's going to be in Calverton on the old Grumman runway. So it's nice. It's a nice, flat and fast, furious race. But it's a place where Andrew liked to go and to ride his bikes, because he would always pretend that he was an airplane taking off on his bike. So it's just kind of a cool area to go to. It's a very unique 5K, and where we're able to have a race in a place that you don't normally would have a race, And
it's important to know that it's open to everyone. This is a community event that's going to bring Scouters and everyone else in Suffolk County and Nassau County together, or beyond. I've got people flying in from Colorado and California to run this race. It's about bringing that community together. And when you look at this joining of Scouts and our foundation together, when we were there last time, we had the fire department there, and they were setting up a flag. And while they were setting up the flag, if you looked up at the sky, you saw it was fully overcast, and we were very concerned that it was going to rain. We were doing our little dances, like, please hold off on the rain. And hopefully I can share that picture with you. If you could imagine what it would look like from someone from heaven peering down and looking over everyone, this is the image. It's a cloud that separates, and it's right over the American flag. And if you could imagine what it would look like from someone from beyond checking it, it's almost like someone was peering down going, yeah, that looks good. And to his credit, it got sunny and beautiful. We ran this race. Well, John ran. I moseyed. I walked it. So walkers are plenty welcome. You can walk with me or run with John.
You could run, you could walk, you could crawl, or you could do the moonwalk if you want. It doesn't
We had
matter.
a few wheelchairs. I mean, we had it all. Strollers. But that moment it took my breath away when I got down there and saw that. It was a moment where you felt Andrew. And you felt that community that we talk about, what Andrew loves. We're all working to the same goal, the same type of service, and that's what he wanted. From the last table, we folded up, we put it into the van, and it started raining.
That's right. As someone,
Thank you.
It's funny because I participated in and I'm not a runner, but even, getting there at, 7 o'clock in the morning at that time, it was just, the amount of volunteers that are there and how much support you guys have received, like you said, turning a negative into a positive, and it just, there was a couple of thousand people there, and it was just really impressive. I have to register myself, so you're gonna add another person to the race, so I have to get up there and start running again.
But it is open to anyone who would like to join. It's not just for scouts. It's for anyone. It's open to the general public. And we'd love to have as many people there as possible. Last year, we actually wound up over 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Which
which we were blown away by. We thought maybe 200.
I was having
expected
a panic attack about 2 weeks before because I'm Italian, I want to feed people, and I'm like, I don't know if I have enough food. But it turned out that everyone just came through.
Yep.
And we had so many wonderful partnerships and sponsorships, and one of the things, so Strong Island Running Club is the one running, and John McHugh has just really taken this to heart and really a passion project for him. He's doing such a wonderful job. We have TGIF event rentals that has donated all of the rentals for us. The tents, the chairs, the tables, all of that is donated. Splish Splash and Applebee's, there's our incentive, and then we have our food. In addition, I just found out that Starbucks will be there again to serve everyone coffee. So
that was helpful.
So you got your energy to go forward. Local diner, the Greek Island Diner by me, helps with some of the food, breakfast food, so something to get you started.
Excellent.
We have Andrew's friends donate some of his favorite snacks. So you'll see some of the cosmic brownies, Debbie treats. You'll see those, and those are some of Andrew's favorite treats. So it's really, and then Stop and Shop is doing some of the fruit. So you'll have oranges and bananas.
So you get to walk, run, and eat.
Yeah, it's such a community effect. I'd like to, Ages DJ is going to be doing our music again. So on the starting line, he had us all pumping up so that we could get to the other side, and we have so many people that are joining in to be sponsors, and there's still room for sponsorships. And this is how you can join together, because we have this combined mission. Last year, we made just over $40,000, so $20,000 to each organization, and we were able to further our missions. So Scouterships and the Scouting mission. And for us, we have our scholarships, our grants. So our scholarships go to high school seniors, and that's open nationwide to anyone. And that's it's two-pronged. We want to further the education of students, but this is not just about all of the top students of the schools. These are students who are not just Scouters, but Scouters and people who are giving of themselves, volunteer hours. We're looking at the whole person, not just the grades on the table, and we want that to be part of it.
I think what we look for in our scholarships through the Andrew McMorris Foundation is to award them to unsung heroes. The valedictorians are going to get their recognition, they're going to get their scholarships and all that. But the kids who give back to the community, the kids who are really good kids, who do well academically, but also at the same time don't always get that recognition that they deserve.
Now, those scholarships that you're talking about, do you give out a certain amount each year, a certain dollar amount to individuals? How does that work, and how can people?
Depends on how much money we make at the race.
Fair enough. What did you give out? I guess what did you do
last year? We handed out $26,000.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. To how many students?
So over 40 schools throughout Nassau and Suffolk County.
Okay.
And then it also included fine arts grants and Scouter grants. So we
Okay.
handed out to Girl Scouts that are handing their Gold Award and to Eagle Scouts so they can apply for assistance
Sure.
in finishing their awards. And also then we have aviation grants. So kids who would like to try flying and want to finish the aviation merit badge at Mid-Island Air here on Long Island, they can apply for a grant to do that.
That's great. And you can, all that's available on the Andrew McMorris Foundation website.
Yep. Go on the website, you click on the banner, and you'll see all of our upcoming events. So we have this event, we're also partnering with MAD next week
Great.
of the Battle of the High School Jazz Bands, because Andrew was a musician. So he definitely would have been a part of that. So we're doing that on March 1st at NY. So how do you? It's a new.
It's Westbury Music Fair.
Westbury Music, but it's
Okay.
the NYCB.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll be 6 o'clock Wednesday night that we're going to be there, where it's one of our sponsors that we're joining with MAD. Again, that health advocacy, preventing drunk driving. That's next Wednesday, and then it's all geared up for March 25th for the race, and we want Scouters and people to participate.
I mean, I encourage everybody to join the run. It's a lot of, even if you don't, like you said, even if you don't run, there were people bringing their strollers with babies and taking a nice little stroll. It's a very easy walk. It's very flat. And it's obviously a great cause for Andrew McMorris Foundation, for scouting, for the community. So we'll have the link up. We'll have the QR code, all that good stuff, information about their website. Is there anything else that we needed to?
Well, the great thing about this Top Gun run is that the proceeds do go right to Boy Scouts, to their mission, to scouterships, to help scouts who need an extra financial assistance to be a part of Scouts. And then it helps as well the Andrew McMorris Foundation and our mission and our advocacy, as well as funding our scholarships, our grants to all these unsung heroes. And the more money we make, the more scholarships we can give.
Absolutely.
So,
No, I think that's such a great point, and thank you so much for coming today and speaking to us about Andrew and your foundation for him to, as you mentioned, parent his legacy. You've taken something that is so heartbreaking and tragic and really turned it into something that can really move forward and showcase how, as a community, as Scouters, as a family, we all come together to support one another. So thank you to all the sponsors also that are going to be joining you on this race. Suffolk County Scouting Council, we're very excited, March 25th. So the information is going to be there on the QR code that you're going to see. And thank you again for your time today and sharing and turning something that is so heartbreaking into something so positive. Not only for your family, but for other families that are nationwide, as you mentioned.
yeah, thank you so much.
One thing I wanted to say is, we talk about our grief to action. There is a hole in my heart the shape and size of Andrew, and nothing will ever fill that. But it is community events like this and the people that come together that help hold us together. It's like that old adage of the Japanese bowl, and the cracks are sealed with gold. And that's what an event like this does when we come together. And it's hard to put into words. So you have to sign up and come, because when you're there, you feel that energy.
Absolutely.
And it can go and goes to the next level. And I have to give a shout out to some of our sponsors.
Please.
Of Orland and Cohen Orthopedic Group. They were there last year. They're there this year. We have Riverhead Building Supply, the Goodale family, also a personal friend of mine, and they are sponsors. Dime Bank, Hunt Corporate Services, the Silvercrest Center. We have a huge thank you to the Riverhead Town, because they are definitely helping us move to that next level of how to put this on, because it takes so many moving parts. And just Kendall Creations does our balloons inside. So many people that are giving us of them, whether it's an in-kind donation or supporting our mission. And we just want to say a huge thank you to all of you.
So thank you for joining us. Thank you to John and Alyssa McMorris, and we're looking forward to the next episode of the Suffolk Scoutcast. Take care.